Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we are checking out a knife that I've been adoring for a while now. I've been wanting to get one of these ever since I laid my eyes on it. I was going crazy over it. I wanted it so bad, and I'm so happy to have one in the collection. This is the Reate GTR. And I like the name too because it looks like a sports car. I think this is a very, very attractive knife. It's very appealing to me. You know, with all the ventilation, you know, this thing with the speed holes, this thing will definitely max out over 250 miles an hour at least. You know, I'm not always the biggest fan of holes in scales, but sometimes, like this one, it does it for me. I think this is a very, very attractive knife. Oof. And then you got the blade shape with the harpoon drop point or clip point blade. Another thing, I am very, very attracted to harpoon blade shapes. I love harpoons. I think they not only make your knife look more aggressive, but I do find them to, well, I guess it is mostly for looks, you know, it does make it look more attractive, but it also helps reinforce the tip to be nice and pokey, but also have some stability out there at the tip. And this has a hand satin finish on the M390 blade, titanium frame lock with the zirconium inlays. This is not a cheap, and it's an integral, by the way. This is not a cheap knife, but you know, just looking at it, like, I can look at this and just tell this is a high quality knife. Some people might look at, you know, certain knives and they're like, oh, it's gas station knife. It's like, if you know what you're looking at, you know it's not a gas station knife, because, you know, gas station knives, you always got to remember, gas station knives are attempting to look or simulate something that does exist, which is the real thing. You know, kind of like the difference between a real samurai sword and a knockoff one, right? They're gonna look similar, it's simulating it, right? And that's what gas station knives are trying to do with the most premium knives, or with, you know, knives that are more desirable. Now, the action on this flipper tab is freaking amazing. This is such a comfortable flipper tab. It has perfect jimping, in my opinion, nice and catchy, but also because it's shaped like rounded, it's very, very comfortable. Like, you could push this, the flipper tab all day and not get any fatigue. You can light switch it or push button it. Both of them are equally as good. Then you have the hole deployment, which it does have these studs right here, but that is the stop pin in the closed and open position. I believe it is for the closed too. I'm not sure. It doesn't, I can't tell if it's touching or not. I'm pretty sure it is, but so you don't use these for thumb studs. You can, but they are high and they are very tight because they're hitting the scales, but you can see I can do it. The hole deployment works great though. You can thumb it or reverse flick it. The fuller goes down just a little bit farther than the hole, which also makes it to where you can flick it lower or higher, you know, just depending on your preference of detent, or, you know, where it satisfies you most to flick it. The handle being all titanium with the zirconium, I think the zirconium is a nice little touch, you know, with the vents right here, right here, right here, and then you have the inlay that also has some ventilation in it. These zirconium inlays also act as a place to put your finger so you can reverse flick, or when you're flipping, so you're not like locking yourself out, you have a place to like put pressure on there, and it never gives you death lock, which is really cool, because sometimes frame locks, you know, you'll put a little pressure on them and then they'll become really hard to open, sometimes impossible to open. This one's very easy, even with the left hand, because it gives you a place to put it. And we're gonna take the pivot out here in just a moment and check out the bearing system in this thing. You can see the steel lock bar insert, how they cut that out so that when you disengage it, you know, it doesn't hit, because the screw for that insert is slightly proud, which I can tell that was definitely done on purpose. The lock bar access, they could have cut it back farther, honestly, but they did chamfer both sides, and I can disengage it from the side for the most part. It's a little bit in the front, but this chamfer is well done. It could have used maybe a tiny bit of texturing that would have maybe made it just a little bit better, but it doesn't need it. Like, it doesn't need it at all. So it's not slippery or anything like that. Just a nice little touch that I always like to see. Man, this thing flips so good. This is just jimping. It's not a front flipper, but it is effective jimping. And the choil is done very well. You got a finger choil or just a sharpening choil. The plunge grind starts here and it ends about right there. So you have a lot of life to sharpen off of this. This hand set and finish is beautiful on this harpooned M390 blade. Clip is a titanium clip. No backspacer because it's made out of one solid piece of titanium. So it's all, and that's why these things can be more expensive, because the machines to make integral handles are incredible. Like it's a much more difficult thing to do than to make two scales and a backspacer and sandwich them together. And to my knowledge, the machines are very expensive that are able to make these. Lots of weight relieving with the ventilation. I like this cutout right here. You know, it just adds to it, man. It just looks really cool. You can see inside the handle. Obviously, this is the lock bar right here. This is the lock bar relief. So that's where, you know, they got the bend in it to make it a lock. Perfect centering. Man, what a good looking knife, man. I am digging this thing a lot. The clip, I will say the hardware, I don't know if I've seen them use this hardware before. Maybe I have, and I'm just not thinking of it, but I don't like that they put T6s here. I like that it's T8s pretty much across the board, but this inlay has T6s. Now, here's the thing. There's really no reason you'll ever take these inlays out, at least not that I can think of. And I think this inlay acts as the over travel stop as well. Yes, it does. So that's cool. So it's also the over travel stop. The drop on it, it's obviously on ceramic bearings. I'm going to throw a little splash of oil on the detent. This is KPL heavy. It's my #1 preference for detent balls is the KPL heavy. It's like a gel more than an oil. And it just works. Woo! Look at that. It works so much better. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. So with the disengagement, the detent is relatively early, not super early, but it's very easy to get past. And they did put a ramp there. Now, what's cool is even though they put a ramp there, you don't fumble with it. It doesn't ever touch the ramp and you fumble with it. But if it does hit the detent, you're not gonna have to worry about it being really strong and possibly tearing your detent out. You know, that's what detent ramps were originally for, but it sucks when they're placed in a bad position and then you sit there and fumble with it. This one does not have that at all. And I am noticing the bearings look kind of unique to me. I'm not sure why or what kind of bearings they are. Maybe I should take a peek. I think the hardware is actually T9, not T8, which is really cool. I always love to see larger hardware. But here is when you take off the one side of the pivot, then you have a whole bunch of more screws. So I'm guessing this is the window to work on the inside, but I am interested. I got to see the inside of there. Again, I would have rather seen these be T8 or T9, not T6, but it is what it is. This is by Monterey Bay Knives, made in the USA. Custom bit driver. Not cheap, but it is solid brass and, you know, made in the USA. It works really well. Ooh, look at that. Check out the mat. Okay. Oh, that's just... Do you unscrew it? What the hell? I thought it was about to come out. Oh, there we go. Okay, now we're talking. Oh, wow, yes. I knew the bearings were unique. These look really good. Multi-row staggered bearings. And then you can see it's got a little slit right there. And I'm guessing that's just to help lubricate it even more so than it would already. that's really cool. And there's also little tiny slits on the inside. So every bearing has a little pocket. I'm not sure if that was just, you know, to be able to create it, or if there actually is something better about that, you know, that it possibly makes it, where's my, possibly makes it lubricate itself a little bit better. Oh, here we go. Is this not heavy again? You don't need much. Don't want to open and close until I have put it back together. But it does make it to where now I can easily oil it right from the top right there, instead of opening it up, which you typically can with any knife. But then let's see here, we got, oh, let's clean this washer off. There we go. Cool. A little trick I've been doing for a while, because with the blue Loctite, I was finding in many cases it wasn't holding or wasn't setting up, you know, as fast as I thought it should. And it seemed like, you know, even after 24, 48 hours, sometimes it was not, you know, I guess drying up. So what I do now, and this has been working ever since I started doing this, like this has worked really good. I put the thread locker on the threads. Titanium hardware is not magnetic, so it can be a little more difficult. Now, so you don't want to put a ton on there, but what I do is I blow on it. And so when I blow on it, it coats the threads really good. Now, somebody said in the comments when I showed that in another video that, well, it does that anyways when you screw it in. It's like, yeah, I understand that, but for some reason, this works way better and it dries up faster and it just holds up way better than, you know, before I did do that. And every other time, that's the way I thought about it too. It's just like when you screw it in, the threads are going to get coated just from that. But it must not, at least not to the extent of which this works. So I continue to do it because it works well. Look at that action. Whew. Nice sound too, though. Rock solid lockup though. Yeah, I'm digging it. I love it. I freaking love this thing. I'm so happy to have it. Like I said, these are not cheap. They are expensive, but in my opinion, this is, you know, this is damn near as good as it gets, you know, from Reate. Reate has amazing, amazing knives and amazing ability to make amazing knives. So, you know, I expect nothing but the best when I get knives from them. And so when I seen this, I knew already, like, yeah, that thing is going to be phenomenal. And, you know, to be honest, it kind of reminds me of like and I'm not saying they're anything alike because they're not, the Reate K2. There was also the Reate, what was it? Horizon, I think. The Reate K2, super popular. They don't make it anymore, but they are very desirable. It also has a nice aggressive look, and like I said, it was very popular, and you know, it's very difficult to get now, and they do cost a lot on the secondary market. The Horizon, I think that's the name of it, Horizon D, that also was another, I think that's an integral too. That also is a knife that is very attractive to me, and it's something that was, you know, like a staple from Reate. You know, I wish they never would have discontinued making it, but that knife just has the looks, it has the function, the flipping action's amazing, the reverse flick's amazing, the whole knife is just badass. And those knives, especially the Horizon, really showed what Reate could do, you know, with their knives, because they just, like I said, they do phenomenal, phenomenal work. And as somebody who is using them as an OEM to make, you know, my own knives, They also are incredibly easy to work with. Phenomenal people to work with. They make it so easy. All right, guys, sorry I'm just sitting here gushing, but it's such a cool knife, man. I'm digging it. I will have everything linked down in the description for you guys. Work hard, stay tough. Till next time, peace.